So if you want to have more fruits and veggies and less pests naturally, companion flowers are an excellent choice. And today we're going to take a look at a few examples and how they work. And if you've never been here before, my name is Marlene. Welcome to my home and garden channel.
Yes, guys, so if you want to have healthy, beautiful fruits and veggies in your garden, then a good way to go is companion flowers. These are some beefsteak tomatoes that I grew a few years ago, and boy, did they turn out good. We're going to be looking at 7 different flowers today to see how they can help us. And these were some even end of season ones that still did well. These over here are some beans that I grew and I harvested in just 6 weeks. So it was wonderful. And I'm also going to be going through step by step to show you what we're planting this year along with our companion flowers. So be sure to watch until the very end. So the first one we're going to be looking at is Cosmos, and isn't it beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. And you can see it's doing its work right here, attracting pollinators, and that's what we want. Now take a look at them, guys, and see how tall they got. These are maybe like about 6 to 6.5 feet tall. Well, I just couldn't believe how tall they were, and they were so gorgeous over the fence. You could see them from across the street, how beautiful they were. And they did bring in those pollinators, and they also have other things that they do, which we'll take a look at. But they are annual, so it's a good idea to plant them when you're planting your seeds for your quick growing crops. These ones over here, these are the original ones. They don't grow as tall as the pink ones that you saw just now. They grow to about 1.5 feet. And guys, they look a little bit wispy, but don't let that fool you. These plants are as tough as nails. They attract the pollinators like we said before, but they also attract certain types of insects that are going to keep the harmful pests away. So like your lacewings, like your parasitic wasps, and your hoverfly. So it's going to attract those. These are some beans that we had over here. They got a little bit beaten down by the rain at this point, but I still went in and I got my harvest. I just washed them off and they were good to go. But guys, it helps so well when you have these plants in there, these flowers to help you with your yield in your garden. It does double duty, beautiful, and also, fighting for you. The second one is ConeFlower, and if you've been watching my channel for a while, I absolutely love ConeFlowers. You can see the bee once again, flitting from flower to flower, and this is what we want, because when they come in, they're going to go ahead and also pollinate your fruits and veggies and give you what you need there, and also keep the bad bugs away. These also kind of act a little bit as a trap plant, meaning that some pests will go and eat those instead of eating your crops. It's a little sad that I saw them eating on these, but they came to these instead of going to the plants that we want to produce food for us. So they do double duty there, and I love them. And I did do a previous video, so I will link it in the description box for you, so you can go ahead and check it out when you get a chance. Now, what I'll say is about flowers like these is that they're composite flowers. They belong to the family Compositae. That's what they call it when I was in college, but now they call it Asteraceae, or the daisy flower. But they are compound flowers. So if you look close, you'll see there are 2 sets of flowers. The ones in the middle, they don't have petals. They're disc flowers, and the ones around the edges, they're ray flowers. They only have 1 petal. You can pull them apart and see exactly what it looks like. And it comes in so many different varieties, guys. You can see they have pinks, they have like dark pinks, they have coral colors, they're white ones, you saw the yellow one just now. I just absolutely love them. And some of them have different shapes. So some of them may be single, and some of them may be a little bit more spindly as far as the petals go, but they're all absolutely gorgeous. And these are perennials though, guys. In the first year they sleep, in the second year they creep, and in the third year they leap. So if you're going to be planting these, you need to have some annuals in along with them as well, so that your vegetables and fruits will actually have pollinators ready to go for them. And over here you can see that I save the seed heads, and I do this time and time again. Some people leave them out, sometimes I do too. It can be a little bit messy for the front yard, but for the backyard it doesn't matter. You leave them out so the birds can have those seeds during the winter months, or you can even cut them and put them in a container. Sometimes I'll do that as well too, and they can just come in and have those. And of course, these are also going to be giving you new flowers for the following season, or if you want to, you can always give them away to your friends and neighbors so that they can have some too, free of cost. Moving on to the next one, and that would be marigolds. And I absolutely love marigolds. There's a previous video that I did, and you can check it out too as well in the description box. But this is how gorgeous they are in our garden center. They have different colors. They have the orange ones, they have the light yellow ones, These larger ones are the African marigolds, but you also have the French marigolds, which tends to be a little bit more popular in their use in the garden, but either one is fine as far as, your vegetable garden goes. Of course, for beauty, we always have them in the front yard along with all the other flowers. And they're very, very low maintenance, these flowers that I'm showing you. So it's very easy for you to manage those in your garden. Now, a good thing about marigolds too is that not only do they attract the pollinators and also the bugs that are going to fight the ones that will be harmful to your garden, but they also, the roots of them, they actually help to prevent root knot nematodes, which is very, very harmful to certain types of plants such as carrots, those root crops, and even other plants that you're not reaping the roots, the swollen roots. They actually stunt the growth of some plants as well. So you don't want to have nematodes in your garden, and these are perfect to keep them away. So when you're planting your tomatoes, they absolutely love marigolds. So it's a very good companion plant, especially for them. And over here, this is me in the previous year. I got some larger ones because I had not sown any at that point. And so I just wanted to get some that were, pretty much coming up because the plants I got were a little bit, the vegetables were a little bit larger, and I wanted them to be about at the same time. And bear in mind, guys, that when you're planting them, they should be blooming around about the same time. Your fruits and veggies and your companion flowers should be blooming at the same time. Over here, these are some seeds, just to let you know, guys, when you're trying to carry them along, you can just put your seeds on a wet paper towel, cover it over the plastic, make sure it's not dripping wet, but cover it with some plastic, and it will start to germinate a lot faster to get you moving along in your garden. Next one is lavender. And lavender, it has so many uses both in the garden and inside your home. It is wonderful for attracting pollinators, and it is a perennial. I have a story to tell you about this one, which I'll tell you in another video. But also because of the smell from these, they tend to deter things like rabbits and deer if you have those in your area. And over here, this is how you typically would purchase them in your garden center. But you can buy the seeds and you can plant those as well if you like. Or you could even get smaller ones that's going to cost less money for you. But they're just a wonderful plant to have in your garden. Moving on to the next one, and that would be zinnias. And I found that most people, even if they don't have some of the other ones I mentioned so far, they almost always have zinnias and marigolds. Zinnias are so useful there. And all of these, like I said, they're low maintenance plants, so they're very easy to come along in your garden. And I have to give a mention of Stacy, Saroya, and Marie, because they always have zinnias in their garden. If they don't have anything else, they have those, and they have marigolds. And there's a reason for it, because they're low maintenance, and pollinators, they absolutely love them. Look how beautiful this color is right here. Who could resist that, right? It's just absolutely gorgeous. And of course, they have many different colors for zinnias as well. And these are the single ones, but they also have the double ones as well, which are even more beautiful. So again, they are carrying out so many purposes in your garden. One thing I'll warn you about, though, is that they are more susceptible to powdery mildew. Looking similar to that. But whenever that happens in my garden, what I do is I just go in and make my own homemade solution. You can make yours if you like, or you can, purchase the ones, from the store or online. But I put 1 part of hydrogen peroxide to 2 parts of water. So for example, here I'll put 1/3 cup and make it up to 1 cup with the water. And then I just put it in my spray bottle and spray away, in the evening. And that just settles on there. You do it maybe like once or twice, and it tends to work really, really well for them. But, whatever you prefer, but get something that fights fungus, that will help you with the powdery mildew. And I just wanted to pause for a moment to say that if you have never subscribed to my channel before, I do hope that you will hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell twice so you can follow along with my garden tips and topics. And I just love exchanging ideas with fellow gardeners. We're all learning from each other, and it is just wonderful, the community that we have built here over time. Now let's move on to the next one, and that is salvia. And I absolutely love salvia. It has a special place in my heart. Not everyone has it, but those who know it, they know how good it is. It's in the mint family, so it is very drought tolerant. And also I have to mention that this is one of the first ones. This is probably why I like it so much. One of the first ones that blooms in the spring. So when all of the other plants that are not bulbs are still asleep or just barely coming up, these are way ahead of the game. And they are full of blooms. And sometimes I'll have like early bees that come out, because typically bees are one of the first pollinators that come out. These are here and they're ready for them. This was a cooler day, so the bees were not out at this point, but guys, when they come out, they really do. This one is actually called May Midnight, and I love the color. It's very pretty. But there are many different types of, there's so many different species of salvia out there. And this is where I started with this one, guys. Before I even had a raised bed in my backyard, that's where it started from. Then it got a little bit bigger, and then over time it just gets larger and larger because it comes back every year. And this is how they're sold in your garden center, typically around about this size, quart, or maybe like, you know, a gallon or something, just depending on what you want. Of course, the larger the container is, then the more you're going to have to pay for it. But that's my type right there, the May Midnight. These are some other types here too, similar in color but slightly different in terms of how the leaves feel. They're a little bit softer on this one. The tougher the leaves, the more they tend to deter things that may want to chew on them. And over here you can see they have some white ones as well too. Very unusual. I don't see that one very often, but it still does the same thing. And these are just basically bringing in your pollinators, guys, actually earlier in the season. And some of them, they last right through the blooms. But if you cut them back, you know, they'll come for you again. Just, you know, cut the flower heads off, the dead head, them when they're spent, and then they'll come up for you. And by the way, I mentioned lavender earlier. Hummingbirds love them. Hummingbirds love these too because of how the flowers are shaped kind of like a funnel. So they'll come in for those too. And just to show you another type, we're still looking at salvia. Look at this one, guys. This one is not as common, but it's also a salvia, and it has a similar purpose. This one is called saucy red, and I'm sure you can see why, because it looks really, really saucy, I think. But they're so pretty, you know, they're beautiful, and they just do so well in the garden. Now, sometimes they can, though, be susceptible to powdery mildew as well. So again, I typically use the same thing again, just to spray them, you know, in the cool of the day, usually in the evening, and then maybe do it again another 2 days or so, and then they're pretty much are good to go at that point. We're doing construction on our backyard, and even so, guys, they still came through for us. Look at that. This is the same plant. I've had it for so many years, and I absolutely love it. And just to pause, guys, to say that if you wanted to support my channel in an additional way, you can always go ahead and get one of these t-shirts from the store, and you can just click on shop and you can get one of those. Moving on to the next one, and that would be Black-Eyed Susans. And again, another one of those plants that belongs to the composite family, where they have, you know, that kind of saucer-like shape, so that it's easy for the butterflies to land on them, and so they love them. And you can see how much they're going for right there. Depending on how large they are, then it's going to cost you more, you know, if the large container is larger. But these are, you know, all-time favorite for summer. They're just so beautiful, and they have different varieties too. You can see how small that one is compared to the taller ones. So it just depends. And this one over here looks a little bit darker in the center. But either way, they pretty much do the same job. They bring those pollinators in, and that's what we want. And it's just very relaxing too, guys. To just sit back and watch them come and visit your garden, come and go there doing their thing, and you're enjoying the whole thing. And that's a good part of gardening. Very, very therapeutic, guys. So a friend of mine gave me these in the fall, and you know, I was wondering if they were gonna come up or not, and they did. Winter came and went, and they came back up because they are also perennials. And I was very, very excited about that. And so I planted them in my front garden, and this is how they're looking right now. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen as they grow up throughout the season. Now let's go ahead and take a look at what we are going to be planting in my smaller raised bed over here. So I have some tomatoes. Here's the first one right here. You can see the type that this one is here. This one is Better Boy. I've grown that one before, so I absolutely like it. And these were actually 3 for $10 at Home Depot. I did that previous video, not sponsored or anything. We have some peppers over here. One is a hot pepper and one is a bell pepper. That one is a red one. And I'm super excited to see how those are going to turn out. And this is another tomato that we have right here. And this one is called Celebrity. So we're going to be planting those today. And I'm just going to, because I have so many of the cosmos in there already. And I also have some marigolds coming up. I'm just going to plant maybe one or two of those. This right here is a coneflower in the center. Came back from last year, and you can see the cosmos, they're coming up right there, feathery. But again, you know, in no time they're going to take off. So yes, you'll see the beauty of them. And this right here, this is a Calliobraca, not mentioned in the groups that I had just now. But this is supposed to be an annual, guys, in my area. I'm in growing zone 8. But guess what? It came back. And I'm so happy about that. This is how gorgeous it was in my front garden. And I just rested it there. I honestly didn't expect anything from it, but it came back. So I'm going to go in first and pull out these, the old little stems here from the previous cosmos. And I have a future video I'm going to be doing on cosmos as well too, because I think they deserve a video all by themselves. So over here, I'm just pulling them out and shaking the dirt off of there. And guys, based on how the price of things have gone up, I'm trying more and more not to just dump my soil. I'm really trying to reuse it and just, amend it, whether it's by putting in, some type of a manure in there, fertilizer. Maybe want to try to use maybe like compost tea this year. I typically use like Epsom salt solution, banana peel water. I'm going to be putting those things in here as well too, so we can reuse our soil, because why throw it away when you could use it again, right? Just make sure it's properly aerated. You go in and you turn it over and you add in whatever you're going to add in as your nutrients. So here I'm going in and just trimming them out to make sure they're nice and healthy, like you got a nice, really good haircut, and you're ready to go again. And it really helps them when we prune them, as long as we're doing it at the right time and in the right way. And I'm so looking forward to see how this is going to look over here. So it's going to add that nice splash of color contrast along with the other ones that are here. And it's going to be lower too, so it's going to be cascading like the spiller over to the sides. It's going to be gorgeous. So be sure to subscribe so you can follow along, guys, and you can see what's going to happen next. So we're cleaning up everything here, and then we're going to go ahead and get ready to get to the next step. And if you're liking this video so far, guys, be sure to give me a thumbs up. It helps my channel to go a long way in terms of, this be recommended out to others so they can benefit. So I'm just taking off some of the, the wood chips off of here, the pine bark and all of that mulch, taking them off to make way so I can plant the other things a little bit more easily. So this is what it was looking like here, and I cleared up most of them. I left a little bit behind because, of course, you don't want to take everything off, because some of them need to go back in and help to nourish the soil as well. I'm going to be adding in some garden soil. It's light and fluffy, so I don't have to have raised bed soil. But if you're doing your flower bed for the first time, like your raised bed, you may want to get some raised bed soil to keep it light and airy, because it can't be too heavy on your plants to start. So over here, guys, this is how I'm going to be setting them out. You can see how and it's good to set them out before you start, so you know what you're doing, and then it makes it easier as you go along. So I like how this is arranged right here. I think it's going to work perfectly well. Tomatoes are going to be taller, and peppers are most likely going to be shorter. Then we're going to move on to the next step, and that is to start planting them. So I was quite happy, like I said, to get these 3 for $10. So I have another one I'm going to put somewhere else. Maybe when we finish working on the backyard, I'll put them in the other bed, the larger one, with some beans. But right now I'm planting my tomatoes. Always be sure to loosen out the roots a little bit and plant it very deep. Tomatoes need to be planted deep because they do so much better when you do that. The little hairs that you see on the on the stems, those all become roots. And if you have any little suckers at the bottom, you can just pinch them off and just plant it deep. That is what they want. Some people even plant them at an angle, kind of like sideways. I've never tried that before, but they say it works really, really well. And then we're going to get on to planting our peppers. I planted the first one, and here is the other one. Same story again, just, loosening out the soil, and I should say the roots, and just planting them in there and being sure that they are covered. And it's a good idea, if you can, to kind of time it out if it makes sense for you, that when it's going to rain, you just go ahead and maybe plant them the day before. And then when the rain falls on them, there is nothing like that, guys. When that rain falls from the sky, full of all of that nitrogen, guys, it goes such a long way for your plants. It's just like they got a tonic. Well, that's how it looks to me. You can tell me what your experience is. And then over here, I'm just planting 2 of the marigolds so they can get a head start, because the cosmos are coming up already, but I did not see my marigolds yet. So I'm putting in 2 of them. I'm going to be saving 1 for the other bed as well. And guys, you can tell me what you are growing this year. Are you growing tomatoes? Are you growing peppers? Are you growing beans? Because those are the kind of like the standard for my channel, but I put other things in as well. But if I don't do anything else, I typically try to have those in it. And I also have a video coming up that's going to show you, how I did my pollinator garden last year in this flower bed right here, to show you all the different things I put in from the very beginning, from seed right through to the very end, when I was harvesting the seeds after the end of the growing season. So be sure to subscribe so you can follow along with that. And here I'm just going ahead and watering them in, giving them a nice good soak to get them off to a good start. And again, I did this in the evening so that way they can be cool overnight. They can just kind of like cool down, and then when I go back the next morning, they'll be all nice and perky. Just adding in all the water, and it's very relaxing for me, guys. You can use a watering wand. I have those too that I use sometimes, but I just like using my container. Plus, it's good exercise too. So we're about to finish up on that here. And sometimes they get a little moved around a little bit, so it's good to just press the soil in to make sure that, you know, they're nice and stable, because they're a little bit willowy to start, but eventually they'll get past all of that. Next thing is to add in the tomato cages, and these guys we waited until the end of the season, and we got them for $1.50 each at Walmart. So it's always good to, you know, wait until the end of the season, see what they have, and get some of those. So this is how it's looking right now, guys. So follow along so you can see what's going to become of these. I want to thank you so much for watching. Leave me any questions if you have any, or any comments. That's going to help others, you know, with other ideas. Happy gardening, and I do hope to see you in the next video. Take care.